Oska Tee fans, welcome to the third episode of the lockdown. This is part 3. Tonight, I want to talk about books, Oska Tee and books. There's a myth which I would like to dismiss that black people do not read. I take offense at that because I, for one, do read. And half of my books are out there all over the place. Friends borrow, they don't return. I would like to think they borrow them because they're interested and they're reading the books. Anyway, books are my third love. My first love is the music, of course, everybody knows. I make my own music, compose, write, sing everywhere. Then my second love is the movies and the documentaries. Then the third love is the books. I still have books like the old school way. I do read a lot on a lot of ebooks. However, I think it's a more challenge for the eyes, more strenuous for the eyes. So I still prefer the old school way of reading. So I've got a collection here of books, a whole lot of collection, but I just took a few now, just to show you. The first book that I'm going to show you first is this one. I had to start with this one. This is the work of Bongani Madondo. He edited this book. It's The Life and Times of Mapr. I Am Not Your Weekend Special. Very interesting book. Like I mentioned on the first episode, some of the writers in the book, Bo Semate, Bo Butemba Fasi, Bo Tolang, Bo Ludwe, and a whole lot of them. Nami nkona ke apha I wrote la i-forward yayibhalwe nguBrahimu Masikela. I'm also one of the writers. This is me from here. It's me. Hooked on You. That's my chapter on the book. I'm talking about my encounters with Mapr. So this is the book. It's very interesting, really. I'd really like people to get this book. Anyway, the second book that I have, this is The African Prophet. It's a life story of Baba Uzvilezwe, Imvelaphi in Xhosa. It's a very interesting book. It's a very, very, very interesting book. Because, sometimes people come across prophets. So, Baba Uzvilezwe, uyazisho ukuthi ubani phumaphi. I got this book as well. I read it many times. I'm not a novel person as such. But I do read selected novels. Like John Grisham is one of my biggest favorite writers. This is The Pelican Brief. I also read The Firm, The Client, The Lawyer, a lot of them. This is his book. And then Daniel Steele, No Greater Love. I read this book, and a year later they published the movie Titanic. And it so happens that the story, Sunday Family, is what had happened inside the Titanic. So, it's like I got prepared for the Titanic. It's a very interesting book, Daniel Steele. And then I have The Wisdom of the Elders. With books, there are spiritual books, motivational books, there are biographies, autobiographies. Those are the kind of books that I read. Books on mysticism. Of course, I read a lot of books in isiXhosa because e-reading also helps with one's vocabulary. So of course, English is the language that we use to communicate with the world. And but it's very, very important for one to know their mother tongue and keep improving on it as well. I have this book, The Wisdom of the Elders. It's got quotations of old people, Magdala, African Americans. It's a very good book. It's a very good book. I always read it. And then I have this book, Uluja. Abantu will remember it from back in the days, even primary. It's a very good book, yes, Xhosa, very interesting story. And then I have this one here, Ukubandandazile by Witness K. Thompson. Oh, very nice story. I wish someone one day develops this with, to a movie or something like they did with Itshala Mawelo, like they did with Ingqumbo Yeminyanya. I'd really love to see a film yale ncwadi. Witness Kate Thompson ngokubandandazile. I love it. I love it kakhulu. And then I have how to develop assertiveness. Those are kind of books that I read. Courageous Leadership by Bill. Um, Develop your leadership skills. Those are the kind of books that I read. And then the psychological books as well. This is Pulling Your Own Strings by Wayne Dyer. This is one of the many books that I have on Wayne Dyer. There's 7 Steps to Success. There's Gifts from Akis. There's You'll See It When You Believe, which is the first book that I read before I even discovered The Power of Attraction, which I learned more about it with The Secret, the book Yakona, and the film. I had already been introduced to it by Wayne Dyer. He's one of my favorites. And then my other favorite writer, Joseph Murphy. Now incwadi yakhe, The Power of Subconscious Mind. Now he talks about the same thing, which is the power of thoughts. That sometimes thoughts zethu, they influence experiences, the future experiences zethu. And then how to attract money. It's also a mindset. It's a book on the mindset of money makers. You know what I mean? So then I have controversial books too, like this one, Israel, an apartheid state. I read it. I read the book. Madiba, the folk hero. Somebody took my long walk to freedom. I know who you are. I will tell. Bring it. So Madiba, the folk hero. This is a very interesting book. It will make you laugh. This one. And then another autobiography. Call Me Woman by Umamu Ellen Kuzwayo. It's very, very interesting. We're having a problem of our stories not being told, or our stories being I don't know. For lack of a better word, I will say they're not told the way they're supposed to be told, or they don't tell it like it happened, because some other people wrote the stories and they had things that they wanted to achieve when they told their stories. So I love books like this that are written by these black heroes, that they wrote these books themselves, or at least the writers were with them when they wrote the book. It's very, very interesting, because at least bayibona bayenza sure ukuthi the book is written the way abafuna ngakhona. Their stories are told the way they happened. And then I have this one on meditation, which is the Do-In philosophy. Very powerful, very, very powerful. Then here's Master Ching Hai. She's Chinese. In this book, she tells you that every nation has chosen anointed people that are a link between the creator and that nation. So God delegates, so there are people that are delegated in every nation, because obviously if somebody came from India, angeke understand izinto zakithi, or somebody came from China, they can have some gifts like I read her book, but for guidance there has to be somebody from my nation as well, angeke asuke Israel, angeke asuke, you know what I mean. So there's the 10 keys to success. It's also very, very, very good. These books don't really change you, but they assist you in the direction where you want to go. And then there's Art of Communication, which is also very, very important to me as an artist and as a business person, as an employee, So yeah, it's a very good book, The Art of Communication. And then there's this one, The Super Gods. This one talks about a lot of things, talks about in nature, the relationship between nature and spirituality. You know, there are certain stones, certain trees, you know, certain rivers that help your spirituality. It's a deep subject in Abantu Bai, but that's what the book talks about. It's very, very interesting. But it also backs up ukuthi every nation has its own things. You know what I mean? That Abantu belozwe go. Like I believe ukuthi ngesikhathi sabo during the times of Abonsikana and them, there were still caves in the land. People were praying in caves, you know, and and the like, you know what I mean? So that's what the book talks about. It's very, very, very interesting. Sometimes even if it's not talking about chapters that don't talk about things in my own nation or in my own country, but it's interesting when you learn even about Ezabanya Bantu, you know, just so it helps you to connect with your own, you know. Then the other side and back, yeah, life here and the life beyond, and the connection between this life and the life beyond. You know how the way we live now will influence the coming life, and how those that have crossed over already influence our life. You know, see Latina. You know, it's a very nice book as well. It's Cynthia Brown. You know, so what I'm trying to say is, will a lockdown, as we are all at home, we've been advised by the president to stay at home and stay safe. There's a lot that we can do. There's a lot that we can do. We can listen to music, we can watch the movies, we can read the books. Of course, we spend a lot of time with social media these days. Then we can do house chores, we can cook, we can bond with our families. You know, we can introspect, meditate, pray, you know, do a whole lot of things, think, plan our lives, and think about things that we can change, you know what I mean? So that is why in the episode here tonight, I decided that we're going to talk about books, you know, because you know a lot of times we speak about ourselves on interviews, you know, based on what the interviewer asks you, you know, but really it really limits who you are sometimes. Sometimes when you tell people about the things that you do besides what they know you of, you know. So I read. If you hide anything in a book, you can hide for somebody else, but me, I will find it if it's in a book, because when I go to your place, if you make a mistake of giving me freedom to go around, I'll go where the books are, and I will find the books, browse the books, and find what you decided to hide in the book. So guys, good night. Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe in my channel. I'm going to keep these interesting episodes coming until the lockdown is over. Peace.